evening, everyone, and welcome to GrayManPrepping. Hope you're all having a good evening here. Tonight is Tactical Tuesday, and we're going to be talking gear and more tonight, specifically, because tonight's topic is dun 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 oil lamps versus solar lights, and a little bit more. How's everybody doing out there? And oh, I screwed up. I forgot to drop my green screen. Hang on a second, guys. You saw the magic. All right. Yeah, I just ran. I was outside working and stuff. And I was like, hey, it's getting kind of dark. Oh, it's time for the live stream. And I got in here a couple of minutes beforehand, and I forgot to drop my green screen. Okay, so let's go to the top of the chat here so I can say hi to everybody properly, including the new people. All right, Daval, D-A-V-A-L, was first one in, said 12.5 gallons of clean burning kerosene, wick feed replacements, and spare wicks. Sounds like he's all on the kerosene lanterns or oil lamps. Alicia was the next one in. Then Steph at Idaho Garden Girl. And then CR, Creative Redundancy, our friend from north of the border. And then Gunslinger Outdoors. Vay's Place. Hey, Vay, how's it going? And let's see, make sure I don't miss anybody as I scroll on down here. Everybody's talking. Outlaw Farms, first time here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right. All right, I'm going to put his comment up there. I live off-grid, use solar, battery, LP, and oil lamps. Yeah. And that's the other thing. Liquid propane. And I froze. Liquid propane lamps is another thing to consider in there, too, with these. All right, let's see. Kaylin Strain is in the house now. And Duncan, 1900 Homestead. Hey, Brenda, how's it going? And scroll on down here. Walter Davis is here. And Little Lone Prepper. Hey, welcome. Ada Near, our friend from across the pond. See how many people get that reference. All righty, and Tibor is in the house. All right, Outlaws Farm is from Maine. Cool. I think it's the first person that's been in here from Maine, specifically that said they're from Maine. Cool, I love it. Hardnack Farms, Wendy's here, peeling apples. Cool. And Mary Beth Smith, hey. MB Heritage Farms, welcome. And it just jumped on me here, so I got to go back down here to make sure I didn't miss anybody coming in here. Garden State Gardener is here, and he's been a member for 8 months. He was the number 2 member for the channel. And everybody's talking back and forth. Good. Make friends, influence enemies, and make them your friends. Jeremy at Tennessee Tactical One is in the house. Passamaquoddy's here. All righty. Okay, so tonight is going to be a little bit of stuff I've learned over the last 40 years. Of course, when I first started doing emergency preparedness and stuff back in 1971, they didn't have solar lights. They didn't have LED lights. They had LEDs in electronics. They didn't have them as lights. So things have changed over the years, and even in the last 4 years, the technology of LEDs has come a long ways. Gossmania Homestead, welcome. All right, so let me slip this over here. There we go. And I just got a few pictures here. We're going to talk about. All right, so what you see there, we got the good Aladdin lamp on the left, and one of these new solar ones that's made to look like an oil lamp on the right. But when I say solar lamps, most people oil lamps, they think of this, the Aladdins, and solar lamps, first thing they think of is the solar walkway lights. And those things are really cool because you can use those both outside and inside. If yours are like mine, where the light fixture attaches to the pole there, it comes right off. And you can also, on mine that I have out in the walkway, you can twist it, take it off, and when you turn it upside down, it's shining the light up. So, but there are a bunch of different type and solar lights that look. Some have a little. The one on the right there has a little reflective cone, so it spreads the light. The other one here it has several LEDs and it's a spotlight. And the other one is just made to look like the old-fashioned Malibu lighting that used to be everywhere. That was 12-volt lights. But there are a whole bunch of them. They've come a whole bunch of different ways. They even have them now that are motion censored, that are solar powered as well. But these things here, I mean, you look at it, to me, it's like, I'm looking at it at first glance, oh, they made it nice. And I'm looking at it and go, oh, wait a minute, that's plastic. Everything on there is plastic, except for the solar panel on top. And it's like, I don't know, I'm an old school person. I've had oil lamps since I was 7 or 6. You know, the fake knockoff stuff just doesn't thrill me at all. And Gosman says, we have solar lights all over your place. Cool, yeah. I know. Those who are watching on my other channel, Camp Patton Family Compound, let me switch this up here. On my other channel, Camp Patton Family Compound, I did the reviews on the solar walkway lights we got from Sam's Club, the member mark ones. And I had them in the back, and I have them up front. And I got with all the work going on, I got to get out there and reset them before snow comes. But it was lighting up the walkway out there, and I learned that the batteries they come with are 1.2 volt metal hydroxide battery, nickel metal hydroxide batteries, and they don't. I mean, the milliamps on them is like 900 milliamps, which doesn't go all night long, especially in the winter. And I replaced them with some ones from Amazon Basics. They were also 1.2 volt, but they were 1200 milliwatts, and they lasted milliamps or whatever, and they lasted, you know, until morning. Now I have found 1.5 volt lithium rechargeable AA batteries. The technology is advancing, and those make it a whole lot better. Now, what I have here, let me make myself small again. Oh, wrong way. There we go. This is what's called a 100-hour candle. It's not a candle. This is a lamp, like Aladdin's lamp. The old lamps from in the Middle East had a vessel, which was the metal thing of Aladdin's lamp, a wick in the end of it out there, and the liquid in it. That was it. So a lamp is basically those three things. Those things. You got your vessel filled with the liquid and a wick. Now a lantern has the glass around it to protect it, so it doesn't blow out. It's there for you. Let's see here. Got oil lamps, solar lanterns, outdoor lights, battery lanterns, flashlights, candles. Cool. Now, let's see. Let me go on. See what else I got here. All right, that was the last picture. All right, so now I'm going to throw a curveball at you guys. Oh, that was found rechargeable batteries on Amazon Canada, AA, AAA. Yeah. Are they the metal, the nickel metal hydroxide, or are they the lithium ones? The lithium ones are good. If you get the lithium ones, great. Oh, and she says she also found rechargeable solar. Okay, Kaylin, you'd be surprised. Some of my the ones I have in the back here in the wintertime get no direct sunlight at all. Yet they will still charge up from the ambient reflective light in the air, and they will last several hours on the back patio. So yeah, you can get even on your dark patio there, in your north facing patio, you can get enough ambient, reflective light to charge your lights. All right, here, where is it? Come on, it's got to be on here somewhere. I know I had it here a minute ago. What happened to my flashy thingy? Ah, there it is. I knew I had it here. My Men in Black flashy thingy. Actually, this is a flashlight. I'm joking around to being my Men in Black. Look right here. But this is an LED light, and it takes AA or AAA. Let me open it up here. This is where, okay, it takes AA's, 2 AA's in it. Technically, if you follow the definition of what a solar-powered light is, this can constitute as a solar-powered light. I have several solar-powered units that for the power stations, the portable power stations. I have the plug-in units for those. I have those little 4-slot chargers to plug into my power station to charge AA and AAA batteries. So when I charged my power station up off the sun, it's now a solar energy bank. When I plug that charger in it, it's taking solar energy and charging up the batteries for my light, turning my light into a solar-powered light. Hey, Southern Blessed, how's it going? So, hey, Moon over Miami. So technically, I can make any flashlight I have in my house a solar-powered light by using my solar panel, my power station, and my adapter to charge, my wall adapter to charge up my AA and AAA lights. And so using that, I can charge up lights a lot quicker than I can with the portable ones out in the get back here to it. So, all right, even this one here, even faster than this one here with its thing. It's going to take a good 6 hours to charge up, at least 6 hours to charge it up. So, yeah, it's but if I use my power stations with the 100-watt panel, it's charged up in a couple hours, and from that I can charge these things up in 2 hours, batteries up in 2 hours all day long. Now, hey, Shadow Scout Swede, who else did I miss there? It's the Marshmallow Man. Hey, Lewis, and who else snuck in here? All right, and let me go ahead and switch back on my banner here to these is the channel members. Woohoo! All righty, channel membership is only 99 cents for the prepper level. It's $1.99 for the gray man level. All right, so let's get back over here. Comments, so I can see the comments as they're coming in. All righty, so with these the oil lamps versus the solar lamps. Green Granny 2, Denise is here. Woohoo! One of the things people go, well, geez, When your batteries finally die and you don't have any more batteries, your solar's not going to do you any good. True and not true. Okay, a lot of the lights, like this one here, is LED. Like this one here is LED. Takes 3 AAA batteries on this one. And I have a bunch of little lights, LED lights for the grandkids to play with because they like running around playing with them. If you're smart and can remember your junior high and high school chemistry classes where they took a potato or an orange and made a battery out of it and ran a normal old-fashioned incandescent flashlight bulb. If you can run an old-fashioned incandescent flashlight bulb on a potato battery or an orange battery, the LEDs are going to run a lot longer on that because they use a lot less electricity. Think about it, folks. There is a way around, and it's not actually solar. Well, it is sort of solar because the potato plant is bringing all that solar energy and creating potatoes. The orange tree is bringing in all that sun into the plant using photosynthesis to create the oranges. Yeah, okay, I know it's a stretcher. I'm being like CR. Yeah, lemon, iron nail, and copper, exactly. And you can make all sorts of natural batteries. And with the LED lights nowadays, they take so much less energy that these, like the potato batteries and stuff and the lemons and everything else, last a lot longer. And Patty is here from Southern Blessed Homestead as well on her own channel. Thank you. Now, with the oil lamps, I did a video on my other channel before I remembered to resurrect this channel back 5 years ago now. It's still getting hits. I was talking about alternative fuels for oil lamps in emergencies. This is not for everyday. This was for emergency situations. And one of the things I did in there, I talked about kerosene versus vegetable oil versus all the different type of oils and stuff. And I spelled out, because people were saying, "Oh, you can't do this and that." I had to go back and I spelled it out in the comment section, and someone else pinned it for a while. Okay, so your number 2 diesel, which runs in your trucks and farm equipment, all right, that's number 2 diesel, has additives in it and stuff, so it's not exactly super clean burning. But when they, in the cracking tower, when they refine it a little bit more and pull off a little bit later, that's called number 1 diesel. Now, number 1 or number 2 kerosene, same thing. Difference is number 1 diesel has additives to it to go in a motor, whereas number 2 kerosene doesn't. Then the next more refined one is number 1 kerosene. And then you get into some more refining of number 1 kerosene, where they put other added stuff in it, and you get your JP5, JP8, all your jet fuels and stuff. All right, so it goes on. So thinking about that, it's like, in an emergency, I can use just about any type of jet fuel, helicopter fuel, tractor fuel, any of that stuff you can use in an emergency for a oil lantern. Now, number 2 kerosene and number 1 kerosene are the best, and then there's ultra refined number 1 kerosene, and they throw the British Euro thing on it for calling it. I'm having a brain fart here, folks. paraffin or whatever, or so they, they show that it's more refined and everything else, and it's also part, but the way they've been refining number one, kerosene here, yeah, it's not that much difference. I've used number two kerosene. I have a 55-gallon drum out there of number two kerosene, and it works just fine. I use it for my kerosene space heaters and everything else. Now, talking about oils here, guys. With your normal lanterns, hang on, I want to bring that picture of that lantern up. In your normal type lantern, this type here lantern, you do not use, these are not made to have flammable liquid in it. All right, I repeat, these are not made to have flammable liquid in it. Lamp fuel, kerosene, is combustible. And there's a difference between combustible and flammable. I can take a bucket of combustible liquid, put it out there, and throw wooden matches in it all day long, and it's not going to ignite. I take a same size container of flammable liquid. I'll back off about another 20 feet, and I'll flick one match out there, and it goes poof. All right. Then y'all text us on the back 20. Welcome. So rubbing alcohol is a flammable, a very intense flammable. Yeah, do not use those in this type lantern at all. Now, there are some alcohol lanterns specifically that are made for it, and alcohol stoves. Those are specifically designed for alcohol. Now, there are some old-fashioned Coleman multi-fuel stoves and lanterns that use white gas, gasoline, kerosene, diesel fuel, mineral oil, and other things, and alcohol. Okay? So combustible basically has to do with at what Fahrenheit it will ignite. It puts off vapors that are ignitable. Just boom, right then and there. And flammable. So you have it where that temperature range is, says whether it's flammable or combustible. The higher the temperature, you get into combustibles. The lower the temperature, into the flammables. Gasoline will burn at minus 50, 60, 70, I forget what it is, that so you see that's flammable. At minus 60 degrees, kerosene turns to a gel. Okay. Combustibles are not dangerous, Faye. Combustibles are not dangerous. Wood is a combustible. This napkin is a combustible. Gasoline is a flammable. There's a big difference. I want to get that across here. And part of the time, in my multifaceted past, I was a hazmat site safety officer. And so, yeah, I had to learn all that stuff, and I got books on all the different things for, all that type stuff. So, combustibles will not ignite straight up. That's why they have a wick in it. You basically, you're holding the flame to the wick, and the wick reacts to burn. That's why the wicks, you got to keep adjusting the wicks and trim, because the wick is burning away a little bit as it's getting the kerosene to the higher temperature to vaporize, to spontaneously go. Okay, very good, very good, Vase. Yes, okay, I see that. All right, I see that there. Yeah. So now, one of the things here talking about different type fuels for your oil lanterns here, guys. And I did some other videos on this over on Family Compound 4 years ago, 5 years ago now. Anyways, so what I did over there on different ways of making candles, not lamps. All right, so and I know CR's talked about it, and some others have talked about it. Hey, you get that big container of Crisco, you stick it down there, you stick a wick down in it, and it's a candle. Yes, it is a candle because at room temperature, that Crisco is solid. It's not a liquid. Just like a candle room temperature is solid. Now you get a 120 degrees, that candle starts melting on its own and starts liquefying. But at normal temperature, room temperatures, normal conditions, a candle is a solid. The Crisco is a solid. It's a soft solid, but it's still solid. It's not a liquid running around. And but if you heat it up and about Crisco has been processed so it won't. Basically, it did it so it doesn't vaporize readily at as low a temperature, and that's what a lot of the cooking oils have been treated that way, so that they don't start vaporizing at a low temperature. That's why you got to turn them up to like 400 degrees to do your cooking and stuff, and your woks and everything else like that. Pure olive oil has a lower temperature for it to start to vaporize. And that's what like Aladdin's lamp was, an olive oil lamp. Now it didn't have a little thin wick like these do. The wick it had was more like one of those tiki torch wicks, about the size of my finger. So it was drawing up the oil on it and had enough surface that was burning to vaporize heat up the olive oil to vaporize point to sustain the fire to provide the light. All right, I'm just trying to look up here at some of the stuff. Yeah. So now I'm going to go take it a step farther. How many people have heard about rendering lard and rendering tallow? All right. So that's basically lard is pork fat, tallow is beef fat, and you can render it down. And at room temperature, it turns into a solid. If you run it through a system, and you got to be careful with this. Don't just do it on your own. Okay, just to let everybody know, there is a geomagnetic storm ongoing that hit last night, and we're still feeling the effects of it, and it is affecting my computer a little bit. That's why some of you are getting buffering out there. You can refine the lard and the tallow to the point where it separates out and you have it where it stays at a liquid at room temperature. But once you get it to that stage, its shelf life is a lot shorter. It can go rancid a lot quicker. So this is some old school stuff that my great grandmother used to do. My grandmother used to do, but she saw no reason to teach us how to do that, because we go down to the store, we can buy a 5-gallon thing of lamp oil. All right, yeah, lamb fat, chicken fat, turkey fat. There's a lot of fats out there that can be used to do it. Now, with some of the oils, the vegetable oils and stuff that have been treated so they have a higher temperature before they start vaporizing, you can use that to extend your normal kerosene or diesel fuel, lamp oils and stuff farther. Hey, Star, how's it going? And it will basically, it's like it's what we would call cutting it. You're cutting the thickness of the vegetable oil with the diesel fuel, the kerosene, or whatever else, and basically they because they are so close together, they kind of blend together, and you get a blended fuel mixture there that burns, that makes the oil, the vegetable oil burn, but it doesn't put out quite the bright light that number one kerosene will. All right. So looking at what we've talked about so far, your oil lamps, you have other natural fuels you can use in an oil lamp to keep it going. You can make an old-fashioned Aladdin and the genie lamp to do lard, tallow, olive oils. You know, if you can do your own homegrown vegetable oils, presses and stuff like that. There are certain nut oils which burn very well as well, that burn good as well. So I'm going to tell you this right now. If you're thinking about researching some of these, or thinking about getting some of these other oils and stuff because it's so expensive for the kerosene, when you price out the price per gallon of some of these other oils, you're going to go, oh, kerosene's not that expensive comparative wise. But if you're growing these others yourself, then it becomes economical. Hey, Tiger, how's it going? One of the things I want to tell you is do your due diligence, research, look up, go to the library or a library online, and check out the books and stuff that you can, the reference books on making lamp oil, making fuels and stuff like that. Now, true, Tibor. And I think, I'm not sure about the sheep when you fat, when you because sheep doesn't have that much fat on it, but when you do render it down, I'm not sure where it falls on that scale. If somebody knows, where it falls between, with fat, beef stuff. Oh, and somebody put out in there earlier. What about bacon? Bacon is different than your regular lard. Bacon is manna from the gods. Okay, you don't burn your bacon grease. You save that for a cooking. All right. There are several things. I'm trying to make sure I'm touching everything. I got my notes in my mind here of different things to touch upon. All right. So we've covered a lot of different oils and stuff. We've covered the natural batteries from potatoes, lemons, oranges. There are several other plants that will produce an electrical current. Those type of electrical currents will power a little LED light a long time in comparison to we used to power the little flashlight light, run for about 20 minutes and finally kill the potato. A little LED will run a couple hours before it kills the potato. One of the things also, I'm sorry, bacon fuse. Hi, Gear. I didn't see Gear come in. Gear's here. Fried taters and onions and bacon grease. Yes. Absolutely. And then you take the leftover and you make yourself the gravy with it. Bacon gravy. All right. So we've talked about the little solar lights and stuff, and the solar lights like these that you can charge outside. You can bring them inside. There are small panels, 15-watt panels that'll plug into a battery that have a battery charger on them. That charge up rechargeable batteries fairly quickly. There are, actually, let me pop this over here real quick. and bring up my Amazon wish list because I have some in there on my wish list. And that is, if I find the right wish list it's on, it's not that one. It's, let me go down here, solar. Okay, off-grid and solar. Let's see where it is here. Off-grid is other stuff, not electrical. Solar. Excuse me. I must have stuck it somewhere else. It's not. I'm not finding it. I find everything else in solar. Oh, yeah, there it is. Okay, here we go. Okay, so there are solar lights, outdoor security lights. They're solar powered. They'll last. They charge up. They'll last all day. I mean, they charge up during the daytime, last all night. There's also solar powered chargers, and let me open that in a separate panel here. And so that's what the front looks like. That's what the back looks like. So you can charge 9-volt rechargeables, AA, AAAs, and it's solar powered. All right. There's big solar powered lights for you're lighting up your entire driveway and everything else. And I've got a bunch of other stuff. These are some of the ones. These Eneloops are actually made by Panasonic owns Eneloop. Okay. But hey, you take a solar panel here, $100 solar panel, 100 watt, 12 volt. You hook it up to a to charge a lithium iron phosphate battery. From that battery, scroll back up here. Here's some other lithium iron phosphate batteries. The technology is doing amazing things with these. And we come up here to come on, where's there we go. A inverter. So these inverters connect to the battery, and then it has the it converts it from 12 volts to 120 volts. And they've thrown on some USB chargers on there as well. So you can build your own system to charge up, and then you plug in one of those other chargers to battery chargers to charge stuff. And those, hang on here. Is it on Asset Center? All sorts of fun stuff there. I got all sorts of fun stuff here. There's another solar one. Here we go. Just your regular battery chargers, different ones. Plug it in. Here you go. Here's one you plug in, and it'll charge 16 batteries, AA, AAA. So you plug that into one of those inverters, and you can charge up 16 batteries, and boom, you got lights for a long time. Prepper 101, welcome. How you doing? Let's see, who else did I miss here? Sliding in here. All right, so there is when you come to oil lamps and solar lights, they each have their niche. They each have adaptability if you're willing to think outside the box. You can really adapt them and make them go a lot farther. And yes, a multimeter helps in working on things, figuring things out. Yeah, you wouldn't want to do that, but you see, you can set it out there, get it charged up, bring it inside, and turn it on inside. Then you have your light inside. Oh man, that sucks. All right, Steph's got the motion powered detectors. All righty, and let's see here. Oh, she's in the house. Okay, here, all right. She wants me to give you a warning. If you're using headphones and stuff, you may want to turn the volume down. It's CB at Hugo Homestead. Woohoo! All right. Now there's a whole nother way to go on solar for lighting. It's not for the common person, unless, of course, that common person happens to hit the lottery. Then you get a lot of solar panels. You have that solar energy run in what's called a hydrogen generator. It takes water, turns it into oxygen and hydrogen. You collect the hydrogen, you put it in a big, huge propane tank, and you use that to power a, come on, brain work, fuel cell, which turns the hydrogen back into electricity. And your byproduct is water. And then you got your lights from solar energy, because the solar energy got stored as hydrogen and got re-energized into electricity. So, Reed at usually Manifestations of Imagination, he's changed his channel name to Reedin, Redin. One of his things he wants to do is go a total different way from all of this. He's working on building a breaking the stuff down. Anyways, it'll break everything down, but it creates methane, and he pulls the methane off instead of hydrogen, and then he can use the methane through a fuel cell as well, or he can hook it up to a multi-fuel engine like I have on my generator, and it can run gasoline, propane, natural gas. Well, you can also run methane and hydrogen on those multi-fuel generators as well, and create power that way too. Bioreactor. Yes. Thank you, Kaylin. Yes, for methane, CR, making methane. He hasn't put it up yet, but he was working on it. And then, of course, the Red Dragon came along, and suddenly he found himself working 16-hour days. Of course, like Shadow Scout says, no, wrong one. Who said it? Walter said it. You got a Mr. Fusion? The Mr. Fusion, you don't need the producing 1.21 gigawatts of power. You don't need to go back in time. You can power several houses. Just drop some beer, an aluminum can, a banana, some other stuff in there, and you got your fusion power. But yeah, there are a lot of ways to get your lights on. Oil lamps, solar, methane, hydrogen. Now, my in-laws had a camper trailer, an old one, back from when my wife was a little kid. All right, and that thing had some big propane tanks on it, because the refrigerator freezer could run on propane. It had in each room and a couple in the kitchen and the dining room had little lights fixtures, but you look on it and it takes the mantle just like a propane a Coleman propane lantern does, and it would burn the it would burn the propane on that there because it was all plumbed into the trailer. So they just put the mantle on there and just do each one, and they turn on the lights and stuff. That way they weren't killing the batteries they had on it. They'd save that for other stuff. So that's the other thing is if you have a good supply of propane, you're good. Now, for those that are interested in doing a little DIY, one of the channels I've been following since before I brought up Camp Patton and before I moved up here full-time into Idaho is called Red Poppy Ranch. And Heath over there actually went to, was in Nebraska or Oklahoma, and they had a place out there where the propane trucks that make the delivery to the houses and stuff, after so many miles and years stuff, even though the tank is still good, it's lost its highway certification, but it's still good. And a lot of people are buying these. So Heath went and got one, brought it back here to Idaho. He's about 2 hours south of me. And he took all the fenders off and everything and worked on it and made it into, so it's just a tank, put the legs on it and everything. And he has this big, huge tank, propane tank, that he has plumbed for his off-grid house. Well, he had a smaller 1,000-gallon tank down by the house. And once he had the other one all plumbed up and stuff way away from the house with the stuff around it, then he moved the other tank up by the other one. And I got to show this to you guys. I got to show this to you. Hang on a second here. Red Poppy Ranch. Boom. There it is. Gee, I never go there very often. Okay. And all right, got to get that out of the way. Take this big here. And an ad pops up, so I'm not going to show you the ad. Okay. Okay, so let me share this with you here. This tank here is the one that used to be on a truck that he converted, and he's towing his other tank up there right now, up to it, and he's going to take it off and put it next to it. So I'm going to move forward here a little bit as they move the other tank around. And so the big one's his primary tank, and his wife's running the skid steer for him. And there they are. There's the two tanks he has for his propane, and the one would just about run him all winter long, running the furnace and everything else, and the tankless water heater. The big one would do for a year and a half. And he's looking for a situation where he may be a couple of years before he gets these refilled. And so this is way away from his house, and it's a real cool setup. I would love to get one of those tanks set up here, even though I now have natural gas in the house. I like to have propane outside just in case. And with propane, you can plumb your house on propane, so you have the built-in lanterns with one or two mantles on them, just like you would for your propane lanterns. And so what Reed wants to do is he wants to create a bio fuel thing to create the biosolids digester. Yeah, that's another one thing for it. So he can collect methane and store it in a tank like this to Rose. Yes. Yeah. So you don't want to store no, that's flammables. That's why oil lamps and stuff being combustible for an oil lamp is exempt from that stuff because it's much safer in most states. You may get someone you get some bureaucrat who thinks he's the emperor of your life and wants to and you don't know anything, that you can't possibly be smart enough to realize I shouldn't stick my finger in a light socket. And so he's going to make a bunch of stuff illegal. And Kaylin's right here. Sean in Alaska is getting his propane stove working on the property. So, yeah. So that, so when you're doing your, hang on, let me get rid of this. When you're doing your, thinking about whether you're going to do oil lamps, propane, solar, biofuels, my best advice is diversify, just like your portfolio. They say diversify your portfolio. Don't get stuck with just one thing, because if something happens for the fuel source for that one thing, you're out of luck. That's why, in the prepping community, it's 2 is 1, 1 is none. If you're down to one type of stuff, you don't have anything, because it's going to Murphy's Law is going to take that away from you. So you want to have multiple ways of doing the light and stuff. So, all right, see you later, Vay. We're about done here anyways here. So before I wrap this up here, though, I want to go over here and pull this other up here. For those of you that are new here, like Vay's still here, if you have any topics you want me to discuss either here on GrayManPrepping or over on Camp Patton Family Compound for the gardening and homesteading stuff, just email me. Use the Camp Patton Family Compound at gmail.com email. And yes, it's 2 P's for Camp Patton. And send me your suggestions for topics. I got a couple more topic suggestions here that came in. So anyway, so I've now got topics out through November 21st. But if you come up with a real good topic, I will move it closer to the head of the line and shift some of these things around. But coming up here. All right, so Friday night in the homestead over on Camp Patton Family Compound. Hey, it's fall. On the 22nd, it's fall. Fall is here. Are you really ready for it? And we're going to be talking about fall weather, abnormal weather that's going on, because here in Idaho, where I'm at, the temperatures we've been getting for the last 3 weeks are usually the temperatures we see at the end of October. And we're seeing them here at the end of September. All right. So that's what's coming up on Friday is fall is here. Talk about fall. Are you ready? Stuff for the animals, the garden. We're going to talk about all that stuff. On Saturday, back here on GrayManPrepping for Survival Saturday. The topic is turn off your AC, save money. And we're going to talk about ways to stay cool, even though the summer's kind of over now, but some areas of the country are still nice, toasty, warm. So we're going to talk about that. Monday on the Fireside chat, it's what about your spouse? And as far as, homesteading, gardening, prepping, we're going to be talking about what about your spouse on Monday over on Camp Patton Family Compound. Next Tuesday, here, it's up in the air. My wife was coming up on Tuesday, so she was going to be here. But my son remembered, oh, I got tickets on Friday, and they're $200 tickets, and so we can't come up until Saturday. So, and Tuesday's my birthday, so it just may be a birthday special, folks, or it may be whatever. But it should be interesting next pros. Next Tactical Tuesday should be interesting. I may go get myself a present and run pictures of that present. And so we'll see what happens then. And let's see here. Hey, Sarah, boss, how's it going? All right, so that's what's coming up here on it. So for everybody, my live streams, Monday night is on at 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 Pacific, 8 Mountain, 9 Central. Tuesday, same time. Friday, same time. Saturday, same time. So the 4 main live streams I do for GrayManPrepping, Tuesday and Saturday, for Family Compound, Monday and Friday, are on at 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 Pacific time. So you can just make a little post-it and stick it next to your computer or whatever. And Kaylin says it's supposed to get down to, Steph says it's supposed to get down to 45. That's on Western Idaho. And my forecast here, let me hit the refresh button on it. All right, tonight, down to 46 here, 43 tomorrow night, 42 Thursday night, 40 degrees Friday night, 38 degrees Saturday night. Holy crap, are we getting blowered? Let me scroll down to the rest of it here and see. 38. No, then it starts warming up again. So that's the closest we're getting to freezing is Saturday night at 38 degrees. Woo! All right. So, yeah. Let's see anybody else in here. All right. So that's what that schedule is. In 2 weeks, I'll be starting back up the midnight ride on Thursday night. It starts at midnight Eastern time. And that's going to be more just an open chat. I'm going to have panel open up, bring whoever wants to come up. I know Wayne's come up a bunch. CR's come up. Kalau's come up. Dustin from White Family Farm, King Poopa's come up a bunch. And we'll just get there. We'll talk about whatever's going on. And there's some interesting crap. I mean, it's crap and laws that are being passed right now in certain states, especially in the great state of California. My wife is going to be, she's getting so frustrated. She wants to get the heck out of there. Oh, so Pacific Gas and Electric, which handles most of Northern California, most of Central and Northern California, is doing this green energy stuff where they are buying electricity from these green energy producers. Well, they're buying it because they're buying it at a higher rate, because it's green energy, it's got to cost more. They are, and then they have to use, they go, oh, we're buying it from someone up in Oregon, so we got to ship it, use the transmission lines to bring it down here. Her gas bill and her electric bill for just the electricity was this much. The transmission fee for transmitting the green electricity from wherever PG&E was buying it was this much. It was more than the other two combined. Talk about a ripoff, especially when you consider that PG&E used to have, I don't know how many hundreds of hydroelectric plants, and they didn't. When the tree huggers said, "Oh, you got to get rid of it to protect the fish," they didn't fight it at all. They pulled all those hydroelectric plants out of California. That's your demon rats at work, folks. Watch who you vote for. All righty, folks. With that, I'm going to wrap it up here with stay happy no matter what life throws at you. Stay safe. Don't go out and do anything foolish. Keep adding to your preps. Water, food, medicine, clothing, and add a new skill or two this month, okay? All right. Take care, and I will see you Friday over on Camp Patton Family Compound. Take care.